Well, no matter what Boris Johnson said today, all this renewed talk of a no-deal Brexit becoming a very real prospect has sent the pound tumbling. It's now at its lowest level against the dollar for 2 years. It's also fallen against the euro. Expensive times for anyone about to go on holiday. Well, with me now is the FT's capital markets editor, Katie Martin. Well, why are all these traders so defeatist? Why don't they believe in Britain and no deal?
Well, sure, you could go to the trading floors in Canary Wharf and go and implore the traders to be more optimistic and more patriotic. But the fact is, there isn't a mainstream economist on the planet who really thinks that we can get through a no-deal Brexit without a pretty significant, at least short-term, shock to the economy. So the markets don't like what they're seeing at the moment. We've had a kind of phony war in sterling for quite a long time. We've kind of hovered around going nowhere while we've waited to see what the government's going to actually do. Now that things seem to be coalescing around this idea that we might leave without the deal, the markets don't like it. So the the sterling has fallen pretty significantly today.
It's significant, but it's still a cent here, a cent there. How low would you expect it to go if this carries on?
That is the big question. And I speak to very sensible people in the markets who are not kind of out there looking for headlines. They're kind of very sensibly putting portfolios together and thinking, how bad could this get? People have talked about the pound falling as low as parity against the dollar. It's now at about $1.22. That would be brutal. It's certainly not beyond the realms of possibility that it could fall to about 115, 110. And really the concern is that that wouldn't happen in a nice kind of gentle slope, that it would happen in a straight line. We saw that straight after the referendum in 2016. That was a very long night in the office. And that sort of movement in markets is not good for companies. It's not good for investors. It's just not good for confidence in the economy.
People do argue that if the pound falls, it's good for people trying to export, though. Is that true or not?
You can argue that, but it is somewhat more problematic than that. There's lots of academic material out there that says it actually takes quite a lot longer for these effects to come through. And actually, if you look at what would happen in terms of our trading relationship with our major trading partner, which is the EU, you look at what might happen to the Vauxhall plant in Ellesmere Port, for example, just the sheer practicalities of doing business in the UK would become a lot more complicated, and I don't think that would be outweighed by a drop in the pound.
So, what is it that will sort of make them think that this is going to happen? Will this, if there isn't a change,
yeah,
how fickle is it, is what I'm asking. If he has a meeting next week and comes out saying, oh, things are looking good, is it all going to go back up?
It could well do, yes. But, like I was saying, the fact is that we have sort of hovered around looking for a sign for quite some time. And the language that we've had out of number 10 for the best part of a week now, and the makeup of the cabinet that we've got, does all seem to be pushing in the same direction. Yes, it could turn around tomorrow if, for some strange reason, we're told by the government that there's going to be a deal after all.
Because the traders don't know what's going on politically, do they? They're just guessing.
No, they don't know, but they are pretty universal in their view. It doesn't matter what your kind of political allegiance is. The cold, hard economics of it are that there isn't an economist alive or a trader alive who really thinks that sterling can get through this without getting really punched in the face.
Katie Martin, on that very visual metaphor, thank you very much.